I'm standing here, guys, in what is possibly the most amazing home I've ever been to. I've been living here for the last 24 hours and we've been shooting a special masterclass with John Butcher. I've never been in a space that seems so beautiful, that is so filled with the most spectacular artwork, that is designed to be in tune with nature, to inspire people to think in unconventional ways. This home itself is a masterpiece of art. But the man in this home is special because what he's created is a masterpiece of a life. John is an outlier in every aspect of life. He showed me that all the ways we've learned to define success in our life, from the time we're little kids to high school to college, a lot of that is absolute rubbish. And that there are entirely new dimensions of success which are emerging in the world today, which are unconventional, controversial, but truly are going to lead to you building not just a happy life, but a legendary life. So let me tell you a couple of things about John Butcher and why you want to be paying attention to this man whom we're going to be bringing onto Mindvalley Academy. The first thing is, John is not a personal growth author. He's an entrepreneur, the chairman of the board of the Precious Moments family of companies that has done 10 billion in sales in the past 30 years. They create those beautiful porcelain dolls that you may have seen everywhere in the world. And while doing that, he has started 20 additional companies. A couple of stunning facts about John. John is in his 50s, and recently he released a blog post that showed his body at the age of 29 and 49. Take a look at this image. This man has somehow been able to defy aging. But it's not just health and fitness. John is a grandfather. He's got 2 grandkids, 1 on the way, 4 children. But you know, he's created a life around his family and his kids so beautiful that his kids do not go to regular school. John instead travels the world with them. He's been to half the world's countries. He has said, "My children will learn more in the bazaars of Egypt than in the American public school system." He has completely hacked the idea of raising kids, raising grandkids, and schooling. But now let's talk about his relationships. I have never seen a man and woman more in love and committed to each other than John and his wife, Missy. 30 years together, and they have built one of the most mind-blowingly role model relationships in the world. But there's more. John is able to create a life where he can pursue his passions with ease. He just became an artist. This year, in his 50s, he has sold over 100 grand worth of his artwork. He's now being asked to create art pieces for celebrities around the world, and his work is astonishing. Now, John's secret is really simple, but it's unconventional. And it's a secret I wish every American and world public school system was teaching their kids. It is humanity's loss that this is not mainstream. His secret is a model he calls Lifebook. See, John accidentally became a personal growth legend, and this is what makes him an outlier. All of the other billionaires I've spoken to are unconsciously competent. They are good at what they do, but they cannot retrace their steps and teach you. John is consciously competent. He's built a formula that he's applied to his life diligently for the last several decades, and he started teaching it to people. It started with a few close friends, and then it expanded. Then he started inviting people into his home where he would get facilitators to come and teach them this formula. And this formula, guys, is called Lifebook. I took it with my wife 5 years ago, and it radically changed my life. And that's why for the last 5 years, I've been trying to convince John to come on camera to bring him onto the Mindvalley community. So what you're in for here is a treat. You're about to witness something that we have never done before. We are bringing not a guru, not an author, but a brilliant outlier. A man whose ideas are so powerful, they have the potential to shake up every single thing you think you know about success, about happiness, about fulfillment. Stay tuned for our upcoming masterclass with the one and only John Butcher. Hi, everyone. So because John and Missy Butcher talk about such a wide variety of topics, often when we bring them on stage at A-Fest, we go deep into a different topic. So this particular time on stage, is their second or third appearance on A-Fest.
Third, I think, yeah.
Third. And we're going to go into another different topic. And this time the topic is very, very, very important to the idea of envisioning. As I shared with you on day one of A-Fest, the problem when you have deep visions that pull you, right? The Reverend Michael Beckwith said, you can be pushed towards a vision, in which case you need motivation, and it probably means that the vision isn't really for you, or you can be pulled by a vision, in which case there's so much joy in relentlessly pursuing that vision, but that you cannot help but be successful getting to that vision, right? Because the vision pulls you. But there's a dark side to that. You can be so pulled by a vision because it's so important to you, it's so important to the world, that you forget everything else. And this is why, if you actually look at the statistic of many people who are leading these game-changing companies in Silicon Valley, if you look at the statistic, they're having, and these are some of my friends, they're having issues with their kids, they've lost that bond, they're having addiction issues to drugs or alcohol. Elon Musk confessed to the New York Times that he cannot sleep without pills like Ambien. They have health issues, obesity is rising, relationships are falling apart. That's the dark side of vision. This conversation is about how, yes, you can have a vision that pulls you, but how do you stay true to that vision while still being conscious of all the other dimensions of your life? What makes John and Missy Butcher unique is they came from really humble backgrounds, right? Like when you guys met, Missy, you were...
I was 17.
You were 17.
I was a farm girl.
Bag girl in a grocery store.
I had a job in a grocery store. Yeah, I was this little sacker.
And you guys met. You
was a
met when you were
musician.
checking out. You were a broke musician. You were buying goods in a grocery store.
He was
She
buying
was the checkout
ramen.
girl.
Buying top ramen.
That
No,
was
he's
my,
this is set.
And then this is what happens. Then Precious Moments takes off. Precious Moments went on to become one of the biggest art companies in America. It has done thus far $12 billion in sales. And all of a sudden, hundreds of millions of dollars are flowing through the Butcher household.
Yeah.
They build a house so amazing that Oprah is featuring it. Now, to most people, this would break them. This would completely fuck up their lives, because you can't go from poverty to that level of wealth without some degree of like things going wrong, because your consciousness just isn't ready for it.
That's right.
And indeed, they went through shit. They will tell you about losing siblings, losing brothers to alcohol and addiction. But what made John and Missy unique is that they channeled that energy. And they, despite the sudden boost in wealth, they ensured that all the other dimensions of their lives were whole, were conscious, and grew alongside that.
That's true, man.
That's going to be the conversation
Thank
today.
you.
Well, I'll tell you,
Wow.
what happened was that we busted up through all that. I mean, the Lifebook was born in our darkest hour. I developed a horrendous anxiety disorder where I literally could not, I was housebound, full-blown agoraphobia, it's called. Couldn't even leave the house, like drive out of the driveway. So like you said, we felt that. We kind of fell apart.
But I think that the thing that we started with was the basis of our relationship. We had
that's right.
this
That's what we had.
foundation. Yeah,
That's what we
had.
had.
The foundation, so we had our relationship. So everything else just kind of happened around that, but we had that anchor, those roots.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then from there we got.
But literally how
other
Lifebook was
categories.
born, and I don't think I've ever told this story, at least not on stage, how Lifebook was born was from the most difficult emotional
Pain,
experience that
yeah.
we've ever gone through. So I had to figure out how to put my life back together. Like I was probably at that time CEO of 5 different companies. Like Vishen said, it was just a few years into this massive friggin', we went from
Explosion.
here to just like, and it was just too much. And we were burning the candle at both ends and self-medicating with alcohol and drugs and just all the things that that happen.
It's common.
And so I just had this total crash, had a couple of panic attacks in a row, didn't know what that was, and just basically became dysfunctional. Like I called all of my managers and I was just like, I'm not coming into work tomorrow. I mean, you're gonna have to get along without me. No transition plan, no nothing. I'll let you know, further notice when I can.
Because you couldn't actually leave the house.
No, I was
right?
completely
You were going
fucked.
through a psychological disorder.
Yeah. And then what happened was my dad was watching late night TV one night, and he came across Tony Robbins' Personal Power 2, and he ordered it for me. This was 1991 or something. He ordered it for me and said, John, I think this might help. I had never heard of personal development before in my life. So I was like, whatever, I'll try anything. And so I listened to this program, and it really did help a lot. It's one of the first really great courses, right? So I got a little bit of a foothold, or at least I got pointed in the right direction. I mean, Missy helped me through
It was rough.
it was rough. I could never have, ever have gotten through without her. But all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, this program sort of pointed me in the right direction and gave me hope that I could get back in control of my life. And so I started doing personal development. Like, I discovered it. So it was Wayne Dyer, it was Deepak Chopra, it was the greats, the badasses back then. And I kept all of my notes in a little binder, like my breakthroughs, the challenges that I want to work on, the goals that I had.
Best practices.
From
all those things, yeah.
And over the years, this little binder just kept growing and growing. One year I realized, hey, it would be a great idea to categorize my goals and my breakthroughs and start keeping track of like all the love stuff here, all the health and fitness stuff here, all the business and financial stuff here. So I broke it down and I started thinking about what are the most important areas of life to focus on in order to really get clear on the person I want to become and the life I want to live. What do we have to master on this planet as a couple to move into the direction of our ideal life?
And I think that's a key lesson there, John, Missy. So if you're looking at 360 Life Vision, you want to look at all the categories. And I'd love for you to list the categories, the 12 categories that you looked at. You guys heard Patrick Grove's 6 categories yesterday. You heard Cameron Harrell's 5 categories. Again, notice, it doesn't matter whether it's 6 or 7 or... You add what's important to you. John had 12, and you're welcome to copy John's 12. That's what I did. But you choose the categories. The thing is, the categories are simply meant to ensure that you're not just obsessed with the tiny slice of life that school says is important, which is your career and your bank account, right?
That's exactly right.
So, but notice what John said. He and Missy did it together. So while you're, observe my hands, while you're being holistic this way, you're also being holistic this way, right? You are involving, you are sharing this vision with your business partner and your team. You are sharing this vision with your partner, right? For example, John and Missy, their visions intertwine. And by the way, if you look at the OKR process, remember I spoke about how OKRs are 50% up, 50% down? It means that when you're coming up with OKRs for a team, it's coming from the leader, but it's also coming from the team members. The reason for that is, again, holistic, shared life vision. So keep in mind, it's 360 this way, that's your life. It's 360 this way. That's being inclusive of the people within your business or your love relationship or your family.
Awesome distinction, man.
Beautiful.
So how to create a 360 life vision according to our methodology is to think through each individual category of your life and really dial in what it is that you want in each of them. And then you roll that up into one singular compelling life vision. And if you're doing it as a couple, it's a really interesting process because, for instance, the first 5 categories of Lifebook are personal life categories. They're your health and fitness, your intellectual life, your emotional life, your character, and your spiritual life. Those are you separate from the rest of the world. So a husband and wife, those 2 categories are going to be different. Her health and fitness goals and strategies will be different than mine. But when it comes to categories like your love relationship, parenting, your financial life, you better have the same visions or you're going to be in trouble.
So love relationship, parenting, financial life, you want to ensure that your visions overlap or are parallel to your partner's vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, our deal is identical as possible.
Yeah, our life vision is our life vision.
Right.
And it includes my stuff and his stuff, and we...
Yeah, so we have different goals and strategies in the personal sections of our life book, but we have one life vision, and we've always had one life vision. And this is the target. This is what we're moving towards as a couple. All of our energy goes there. And what's so beautiful, you guys, is it's a North Star. It guides your daily choices and actions. It's a decision-making framework that ensures that you don't go flying off into left field and find yourself, 2 years down the road. Where the hell am I? How did I get here? No, this keeps you on track. Like Vishen's been saying, so many people get, obsessed with a couple categories. Well, this makes sure that you never get too far off. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices. If you're starting a company, you better be prepared to make a few sacrifices because that's how life goes. But using this sort of methodology, you never get too far off track without coming back to center because you're conscious of all of the important areas of your life.
Great.
What do you got to say about that, girl?
I think that was great.
All right,
I have
thanks.
everything to add.
Okay.
It's awesome.
So this is a question for you guys on those categories that coincide, right? What process do you go through? Are you guys going on a retreat together and coming up with the life visions?
Great
Do you do it
question.
separately and then collaborate?
We have 3 important connection rituals. The first is our daily connection. Why don't you talk about this? We
Okay,
have been
I
talking.
will. That's right. So our daily connection ritual is just because we work together. We work at home, but we don't always work in the same space or on the same things. So every day after work, we either take a bath together, or if weather permitting, we go out and we take a walk. And we connect on everything that we each did that day.
Challenges and opportunities.
And just what happened,
just
and we catch up. And even kid stuff, whatever. Because I have found that if we don't do that every single day, and a couple days go by, I'm like, I've lost connection with him.
Right, that's true.
I'm not feeling like, I don't even know what's going on with him. I can't feel him. I can't,
Right.
understand his emotional state.
So that one is a mild one, but it just
Yeah.
ensures
But
daily
it's-
connection.
it's
Our
constant.
big ones.
It's daily. I
Right.
think that one's actually very big.
Yeah.
Because it ensures that we always, and then every week, we have an overnight date.
This is the biggest love relationship strategy we have. This is number 1.
And this was hard when you have little babies and you have kids, and
But it
it's
can
hard
be
to-
done.
Yeah, it can be done. And
So every week for the last 30 years, we've had an overnight date, no matter where in the world we are,
yeah,
without the kids, to ensure our love
Yeah.
and sex and romantic
And
and
play.
passion life and play is dialed in.
that's the big thing. 'cause
And
we work
Vishen, we
hard.
talk a lot about our life vision on those
Yeah,
dates. That's
for
one
sure.
of the big topics of conversation
Yeah.
for, dinner
Always.
talk.
But our life vision trip is usually once a year. We
Yep.
go to a spa somewhere or spend like 2 weeks somewhere in the woods and just go deep in our overall life vision,
Yep.
where we're going, what we're
How'd we do
doing,
last
what are
year?
we doing.
What are we doing next year? And
Yeah.
just so you know, this is so cool. We're leaving here from Bali. We're going home. We're packing our shit, and we're moving to Hawaii. So this has been we bought this property 17 years ago. And so we work on pretty much a 5-year. Our life vision is usually 5 years out. And what's so funny is this Hawaii move in 2014, that was our 5-year life vision. And then 2015, it's like, you know what? That's going to be a 4-year vision. Now it's a 2-week vision.
Yeah.
We are literally
Thanks.
stepping into a brand new life. Like the last
Again.
30 again.
Which is amazing.
The last 30 years have been epic. But the next 30 years, equally epic, hopefully, but very,
very
very
different.
different. Our whole lifestyle's
Very
going to change.
different.
So we'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah.
That's amazing, guys. That's really amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
So let's get a sense, okay, of how to create a 360 vision. So Cameron Harold, if you listen to the podcast that I gave you access to, he speaks about the 5 F's. And for him, it's fitness, faith, which is your spirituality, family, friends, finance. Those are Cameron Harold's 5 F's. And then Patrick Grove has his 6 F's, and he adds 2 more. Figurehead, which means he wants to be a thought leader, he wants to teach, he wants to inspire, which is really cool. I've never heard anyone add figurehead. And then he added fun. To him, fun is an essential part of life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, so those are 2 models. Now, let's hear the Lifebook model, which you
Okay.
came up with. And remember, before it was the Lifebook model, this was John and Missy's model.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have 12
Right.
categories, and you guys definitely want to take this down.
So
So the first 5 you said.
it's first 5 I said, which are, here's how we've got it divided. We have our personal life categories, and there are 5 of them, and that is you separate from the rest of the world. Your health and fitness doesn't depend on anyone else. You get to decide what you put in your mouth. You get to decide if you're going to go to the gym in the morning, right? That's the distinction there. This is your personal world. Then we have the relationship categories, then the business categories, then we have quality of life. So here are the 12 categories. The first 5 are personal life, health and fitness, intellectual, your mind, both input and output, by the way. Input would mean studying, output would mean writing, producing. Both very important, expressing, yeah. Then there's your emotional life. that we go deep in, because at the end of the day, that's a big one. We all want to feel happy, and everything we do is a means to that end. That's an important category. Fourth is your character. What kind of a person do you want to become? What kind of a person gets the life that you want to have? That's a big one. And then the fifth is your spiritual life. So those are the 5 personal life categories. Then we go to the relationships. First one is your love relationship, your romantic relationship with your significant other. Second is parenting, a wild, crazy, awesome, interesting category. And the third is your social life. And I'll tell you, that one's a sleeper. That used to be our weakest category by far, because we got big families and we
That
liked
was our
spending all of our
social
time
life.
together.
Yeah.
But when we discovered the power of social life, that was a game changer for us. I mean, just being around a group of people like you guys, it turned on, vibrating at a high level. This is big, big stuff for us, and it's relatively new. Then there's the business categories, which are career and finance, and they're connected, obviously, very deeply connected, but they've got to be thought about separately. And you've got to develop a strategy for each of them individually, because they're very different. We know a lot of people that have had an amazing career, Mike Tyson, with a totally jacked up financial life, and vice versa. So they've got to be handled separately. And then the last category we look at...
Could you give us an example of what you mean by vice versa?
Well, there are some people that Mike Tyson made $350 million, and he ended up broke because he had a great career, horrible financial life. I read an article about a Chicago janitor that saved all of his life and retired a multimillionaire and bought a villa in the Caribbean. So it can be done either way. He had a modest career, but he handled his finances so well, right? And this has been one of our struggling categories, is financial, because we're artists, we're not numbers people, we're great at making money. Our big challenge is making sure that we're organized and manage our money well and dial it in. So then the last category is called quality of life. And quality of life, we really look at the things and the experiences and the environments that you want to be surrounded by. This is where your boat lives, your villa by the sea, your trips that you want to take, your dream house lives in this category. It's the beautiful side of materialism, living on this gorgeous earth that we live on and being surrounded by the things that we want to be surrounded by. And so those are the 11 categories, and then we roll all of those visions, what you want in each of those areas, up into a singular, compelling life vision. And how we do that...
Which is the 12th category.
Yeah, which is the 12th category of Lifebook. And how we do that is we try to get to a synopsis of what that looks like. So for Missy and I, we've worked on a 2-page synopsis of our ideal day. And we wake up in Hawaii, and this is exactly how we spend our time. And it's very different than the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And so that's been our target. Every choice we make and every action we take, we try to make sure, no matter what category it's in, that it is consistent with that target.
It kind of automatically happens.
That's
Once
right.
you get really clear on your vision and where you're going and what you're all about, that's your North Star, like John
Yep.
was saying. And then things kind of just, sometimes they can just start falling into place just with that clarity. And then you start with the intention and the allowing, and that's how you get there.
A lot of it is just getting clear on it yourself. You will automatically start to take right action.
you
You'll
do.
You'll know what you
Your
want.
subconscious is like, that's where we're going, all right, I'm going to start doing some stuff, and then the universe conspires around you
Right.
as well. It really does work that way.
So
And guys, we're going to give you a chance to ask questions via Twitter to John and Missy. I'll be looking at your questions on my smartphone. So John and Missy, as you continue talking, guys, if you want to ask a question, just follow me on Twitter. I'm going to post a request for questions. Reply on Twitter. We will choose the questions from here. It worked really well with Jason Silver.
I'd love to ask a question to you guys, just so I can get a feel for where you're at. How many in here feel like you've got a pretty solid, dialed-in vision for the life that you want to live? Pretty much 360. How many feel that? Raise your hands good and high. Okay? And how many feel like you got a ways to go in that area? Okay, that's pretty sweet. And let me, this is an interesting question. How many of you are intimidated at even the thought of trying to think through this and really set a vision for your life? A couple, yeah. It can be, yeah. It can be a
job.
thing.
Yeah.
It can be a thing. Okay, that's great. So it's about 50-50, it feels. Okay, good.
Great. So when people go through Lifebook and they go through these 12 categories, you have them go through a very interesting thought process. Now, Patrick Grove spoke about this yesterday, right? He says he gets away from his life, his careers, his businesses, and he goes deep and starts journaling. And many people do that in an unstructured way. But you have 4 questions that you ask in each category.
Yeah, right.
Tell us about those 4 questions.
Okay.
Go for it.
You want me to?
This is philosophy. This is your jam.
My jam,
Yeah.
right. So Lifebook, the Lifebook methodology. Well, let me tell you the deliverable first. You leave this program with a 120-page, vividly illustrated book that you wrote yourself about the person that you're going to become in the life you're going to live. Every Lifebook is different because every person is different. So this is an empty system that you fill up with your own stuff, which makes it completely different than any other personal development program out there. Meaning, the valuable information in this program comes from you, not at you. So that's the context. So there are 12 categories, and in each category we ask the following 4 questions, and this is what makes up your Lifebook. The first is premise. Premise is a fundamental belief that other beliefs are based on. What do you believe about health and fitness? What do you believe a proper love relationship is? What do you believe about parenting? So we help you, and this is hard to we hold your hand on this. We really get you connected to the beliefs that have been controlling your behavior, the financial beliefs. And if one of them is the love of money is the root of all evil, you're going to have problems. Doesn't matter how great your goals are, your strategies, if you've got that fundamental underlying belief, it's going to jack up your behavior and you'll end up sabotaging yourself. So those beliefs are so important to root them out.
And John, you also have very unique beliefs about, for example, your health, right, and aging. And so what you believe about the world tends to become true for you.
So true,
It's
man.
really
So true.
It's really crazy how beliefs warp our reality.
Well, let me tell you about
Totally.
that picture that Vishen's placed it all over the internet. But here's the thing, you guys. I never set a goal to be in better shape in my 50s than I was when I was an
This is a
athlete in my
beautiful
20s.
illustration of life vision, how it can really just
Yeah, this
pull
is
you
exactly what
forward.
Vishen
Yeah.
was just saying.
Totally.
What I did have was I took that 29 photo, I put it in my Lifebook, and I said, that's me. That's who I am. I'm going to stay that way. It was a belief. And again, what happens when you dial into a belief, this is a microcosm of what we were talking about when you have a clear life vision, you just start to make the right choices and actions.
Right.
I wasn't perfect. But I knew that that's what I wanted to be. I didn't have to set big goals. I didn't accomplish that through a program or a strategy. That happened naturally over time just because your beliefs control your behavior. And my belief was I was always going to be a strong, muscular athlete for the rest of my life. Super powerful shit.
I don't want to leave the belief thing yet because beliefs, seriously, they absolutely, whether you're conscious of your beliefs or not,
That's right.
they are what form your entire life because
They control your behavior.
They control everything because your belief is your belief, and you have all these possibilities and thoughts that come in all the time. Well, if you don't have whatever your belief is, it's weighed against that thought is weighed against that belief.
Exactly.
So you choose the thoughts and the possibilities based on your beliefs, and then your actions are done through that same process. So it's like we can't talk enough about the importance of beliefs.
But we have to stop
But we
because
have
got
to.
3 more things that we got to.
We'll move on.
So here's what we do at Lifebook, though. We help you root out limiting beliefs that need to go.
And it's a profound
and then we
experience.
help you replace them with more empowering beliefs that will take you where you want.
And these are your beliefs. They come from within you.
Exactly.
We help you find them. They're not our beliefs.
Right.
They're each and every person's belief.
Empty
Is-
system.
Yeah.
Okay, second question is, what precisely, with clarity, do you want in this area of your life? What do you want? What is your ideal vision for yourself with health and fitness? What does your ideal love relationship look like? Find the courage within you to ask for what you really want, because that's the only way you're going to get it. And so we get you so clear on what your highest self looks like, and you guys, that's such a valuable thing. You know how few people have a concept of what their highest self looks like in every important area? I mean, that is a massively valuable thing. So what do I believe? What do I want? Why do I want that? What's the purpose behind that belief? What will I gain if I achieve it? And what will I lose if I don't? That's your fuel. That's your why you want something will determine whether or not you're going to get it. Because most people know how to lose weight, stop putting so much food in your mouth and move around a little bit more. I mean, that is basically the general deal. It's why that will make the difference between whether or not you do it. And then the last question we ask is, all right, if that's your vision for this category of your life, what do you need to do to get it? What's your strategy? So the Lifebook process is simply answering those 4 questions across the 12 categories of life. What do I believe? What do I want? Why do I want it? And what do I need to do to get it?
That's awesome.
Thanks, ma'am.
John, in the 20 minutes we have left, did you want, I know you were going to take us through a life visioning guided exercise. Did you want to do it in this session, or did you want to do it after?
No, I don't think we're going to do that, because
Okay.
I think our time is better spent. You guys, we're on our 3rd life vision right now, and we have gotten our asses kicked. We've had big successes, we've had big failures, and we are here to add as much value as we can add. Any questions you have that we can help with to either save you some of the trouble that we've gone through, or give you the best tips that we've learned along the way, we're here to help.
So questions have come in. So I'm going to start asking questions. Just respond to Twitter. Follow me at Vishen. Respond to my last tweet. So Esmond Baring asks this question. Once subconscious beliefs have been discovered around the various areas, how do we remove these beliefs?
God damn, Missy, we could ask that question.
I know.
And you know, guys,
it's hard.
truthfully, we're not
rough
experts at this. I'll tell you who are the experts. Marissa Peer, you guys all know her.
Yeah.
She's a badass.
Totally.
She's so good at this. Lion Goodman has an entire system called Clear Your Beliefs. Here's what we've discovered, though. We've discovered that sometimes just getting conscious of a belief that you find that's left over from childhood, that's bullshit, that's hurting you and holding you back, sometimes just getting conscious of it can be enough to blast it out of your life and put a new one.
And I think that's how it works for us.
Right.
So that's the only thing we can really share. It's like from our own experience. But there are some really good programs out there that can really walk you through that.
Other times you have to coax those beliefs
Yeah.
out of your life. They're sticky, they're tricky, they don't
Yeah.
want to leave. Sometimes you even need professional help to get rid of them. But
Yeah.
so we're not experts in that, but like Miss said,
Consciousness is a massive tool. I mean, anytime you just are like, okay, wow, I can see that now. And your subconscious is like, yeah, let's not do that again.
Right.
So you really can make changes like that.
and the way our relationship is and just the way our personalities are, if we do uncover a belief that's been holding us back, we go after it and we friggin' kill it, and we kill it together.
And this is another thing. We are accountability partners. I mean, I don't let him get away with any shit, and he does the same for me, right? Thank you. So that's a big help in our little system.
Which means this, you
Definitely.
guys, what that really looks like in action is if something's coming up, if one of us are behaving badly, and if we identify, where's that coming from? Well, let's go deep
Yeah.
into that. That's a way to root these things out, and then
Totally.
we can work on it together.
And bringing consciousness in the moment. Like I remember years ago, I was really struggling with being judgmental. I was raised in a very fundamentalist Christian household, and it just came with me. It just was like I was carrying this around for so long. I was so judgmental of others that weren't like me in my earlier years, and I was like, John, I really got to get rid of this. And he's like, yeah, you really do. And so we worked on it. I was like,
Well,
just
for a
bring it
long
up.
time, yeah.
Just bring it up. Anytime you see it, just put it in my face. And it was
Compassionately.
it was hard the first few times. I was like, shit, I don't want to give that up right now. 'Cause I'm
Right,
really,
exactly.
But that's a really good way to have it, have it with accountability is like, hold on, you just hold up a mirror. You're doing this right now. You didn't want to do this. And that's been very helpful.
So let me give you guys a framework that you can use, right, to rewire beliefs. This is the Mindvalley framework.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
actually, we use this it's called the 5 praxis to optimize a human being for transformation. We use this framework to put on an event like AFES. We use it to design a quest. We use it in Mindvalley University. So there are 5 ways you can speed up transformation. And transformation comes from changing someone's worldview, which essentially means changing someone's belief, removing
Yep.
damaging beliefs and
Paradigm
implanting more empowering beliefs. So the first one is critical reflection, which means you take time off, you go and you journal, you write. Everybody should get a journal. Lifebook is a form of critical reflection.
You're bringing consciousness.
Exactly,
That's
you're
what you're
applying
doing.
consciousness. The second is studying, writing. What this means is sometimes you will change a belief simply by reading a book, reading an autobiography
Totally.
of a man or woman who have done something great in the world.
Totally.
You absorb their beliefs. You read something about Elon Musk and you realize, I too can be bold. The third one is social discourse. This is what happens when you guys get together in a group and have conversations with each other.
Nice.
So you will find that in an event like A-Fest, often you develop healthy new beliefs through conversations. For example, at one particular A-Fest, I remember we were in a beach in Hawaii and I sat next to this guy and he's like, Vishen, I want to do this and this and this. I'm like, where are you living? And he goes, I'm living in Idaho. I'm like, well, get the fuck out of Idaho. and then I recommended that he move to Encinitas, where there were lots of A-Festers. He moved to Encinitas and, he helped start a tribe. This was Dane Maxwell. He helped connect a whole bunch of entrepreneurs in Encinitas, and more and more A-Festers moved to Encinitas, and soon there was a thriving community of entrepreneurs having regular social discourse, helping each other elevate their game.
Amazing.
Now, the next one is application. This means you actually apply what you're learning.
That's
you
awesome.
continuously apply what you're learning. You cannot help but transform yourself, right?
Beautiful. I love that vision.
So, and then the fifth one is the most interesting. Get this, guys. It's called altered states. So altered states is often overlooked when it comes to transformational
True.
theory. But many people actually use forms of altered state training. By far, according to Daniel Goleman, the number one form is meditation. That's why you'll notice many of our teachers guide you through a meditative experience. When we started A-Fest and I made you see your future self, that was a way of getting you into an altered state. Now, when it comes to altered states, as Jason Silva said, you can access them using different things. There's brain training, there's meditation, there's pharmacology. There are many different ways, but meditation is by far the best way of accessing an altered state. This is why many people who meditate regularly, they automatically shed certain limiting
Totally.
beliefs.
Yeah.
So
true.
you can use these 5 praxis.
stuff.
Would you like me to repeat them for you?
Thank you, Vishen.
Okay, so the first one is critical reflection, journaling, etc. Second is study, watching a TED Talk, watching an A-Fest talk, taking a quest. Third is social discourse, good conversations with good people. This is why you are the sum of the 5 people closest to you. Fourth is application, getting out there and actually doing the work, getting out to gym, doing your life book. And fifth is altered states, which means a meditative or any form of practice that lets you access altered states.
Good stuff, man.
So we have a couple more questions that came in. Ane Patel asks us, how often does John and Missy review and check in on their life book?
We go through probably every 2 years,
Yeah.
would you say? Depending on where we are in our life vision process. This
We
last
actually went
one,
through twice in a row because
Yeah.
this Hawaii vision, you guys, was so friggin' intense because we got to get all our companies basically automated. There was so much to do for this one that we felt like we had to go through Lifebook twice in a row.
kind of
So
back to back.
we usually don't go through
And
2
we
years.
went through our master course. We did like
The whole thing.
We did the whole thing for a year.
And then we
do it a lot.
take a life vision trip together, but we're not in our life books every day, and the only reason is because we've had one for 25 years, so we know it by we you know when you first start out, you'll want to really spend a lot of time with it, but now we're sort of
But we do redo our life book probably every 2 years.
Yeah, that's right.
On average.
because it changes.
Yeah.
Your life is dynamic.
Yeah.
You can't think through this once.
No.
Look at even like the category of parenting. You got to be in that chapter every 6 months. Your kids are different human beings every 6
Totally.
months. So you really got to keep up with it.
Really, Lifebook is a practice of consciousness.
It is.
It's
It's
a practice
it's a
of
lifestyle
yeah,
system.
It's just you got to continuously be conscious of your life, put energy into it at all times, so that you you grow and you keep cultivating.
So the next question we have, this is actually similar questions. Daniel Connellison and David Wakeman. Are you guys in the room? Just raise your hand. Daniel Connellison and
Hey,
David
guys.
Wakeman. So they both asked a similar question. Will you be offering in-depth Lifebook workshops in Hawaii or via Zoom online?
Yes. Next question?
Great.
Bam.
For sure.
And Tofal asked, can we talk about Category 13? So,
We love talking about category 13.
but hey guys, if you are part of Mindvalley Mentoring, it used to be called Consciousness Engineering. We're changing the name. We're giving it a more telegraphic name, Mindvalley Mentoring. It's like $8 a month, something like that, and you get access to all of these like incredible mentors. So the Category 13 conversation and documentary film are now included.
Are they?
Oh,
Oh, they're
excellent.
good.
Yeah.
That's great.
So Mindvalley Mentoring is expanding to include a documentary film channel, high quality productions, but all our authors, including Category 13.
Okay.
Right
It's
on.
like $8 a month. You can watch it on your app. And there's a 90-minute video that goes deep in Category 13, which is basically the power of sex to fuel. Someone's really excited about that. How would you explain Category 13?
Well, here's what it was. So Lifebook, we look at the 12 categories of life, and that's what we spent the last 25 years doing. But all through that, Jade, are you in the room? Close your ears. Where
She
are you?
is. It's
Our daughter.
okay.
Close
Sorry,
them.
honey.
All right.
She's 18 now. It's okay.
I'm sure she's feeling really awkward about this, right?
So all through those years, we had a secret, like our secret category. We called it Category 13, which is our sex life. And like this is one of the things that we made a commitment early on in our relationship,
Yeah.
probably first year, right, baby?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that we were gonna explore eroticism and sensuality deeply. That's been one of our massive focuses. And so we've always had this sort of off to the side. We've never shared it with anyone. And then when Vishen finally drug us up on stage,
Thank you, by the way, for
yeah,
that.
totally,
Changed our lives.
Totally. I'm so grateful that we
It's
got
opened
connected
us
with
up.
beautiful people like
Yeah.
you. We decided to share it for the first time, and we made a short movie, a short documentary on just the incredible power of sex.
An intimate connection.
Intimate connection that a couple can experience, and specifically taking that energy, taking that power, and transmuting it to other areas of your life, which is, by the way, a major chapter in the book Think and Grow Rich that most people don't remember. It's chapter 11. It's called The Power of Sex Transmutation. And so this documentary is based on, well, it's based on our experience. We didn't discover that Napoleon Hill had discovered this 100 years before us until we, read the chapter in that book. But it's one of our favorite subjects to talk about. And so anyway.
So just go to mindvalley.com/mentoring. Just enroll there. The documentary goes up this week or next week.
Yeah.
And you can watch it there along with like hundreds of hours of other like great trainings. Betty Rocker asks us this. Betty, are you in the room? Hey, Betty. So Betty asks us this. Sometimes I think I stop myself from seeing further because I'm afraid I won't be thinking big enough and I'll miss something. How can I stop being such a perfectionist?
Well, you got to answer this one because you're
Okay.
a perfectionist.
So you guys, I think in the next session that we're going to do after lunch, what we're going to share with you is we're going to share our 5-step process for achieving your life vision that we've dialed in. This is part of our mastery course. And that question's going to get answered in the next session. But you want me to go ahead and give the synopsis now?
Yeah.
So the next session with John and Missy is going to be more on how to have that relentless focus.
Implementation,
Right? Implementation.
execution. Once
habit
you
building,
know where you're going.
Execution, discipline. It's going to be on
How do you get there?
How do you get there?
Right.
So Inez K. Jones. Inez, are you in the room? Please raise your hand.
Later.
The lights are so blinding.
Yeah, they are.
Inez is somewhere in that vicinity.
Okay, she's there.
Okay.
Okay, so Inez asks us, what would be your advice if you and your partner aren't in alignment on the relationship categories? Is it best to do the Lifebook session together or separately?
It's always best to do it together.
It is.
If
It
you're
is.
both into it. We have a lot of couples that drag their, when the husband drags the wife or the wife drags the husband, and by day 4 we almost always completely win them over because the process is so different. People expect to come and be taught in a room. That's not what it is. Your wisdom is being drawn out of you,
Yeah.
and you're seeing it happen. It's an amazing experience. But a lot of times, you want to talk about this, sweetie?
Well, a lot of times, like John's saying, we get this question a lot, and it's tough because it depends on where you are in your relationship. If you're in an all-in relationship and you're totally devoted, this is a devotional relationship, right? Then you've got another job. Your job is compassion. Your job is patience. Your job is to put a container around that partner of yours and gently coax them out and help them with their struggles. If you're in a relationship that you're not so sure, then that's a different story. You really have to decide where you're at Because it's super touchy. Like if you guys are growing and one's taking off and one's not, oftentimes this one will go down lower as this one rises,
Yeah.
right? And
That's
it's
so true. We've seen.
Yeah.
The danger is, obviously, when one of you is committed to personal growth and the other isn't, is that you'll grow apart to the point where you're so far apart there's nothing you can do about it anymore. But here's the thing about Lifebook for couples. There is no better methodology that we've ever encountered to get a couple on the same page in every area of life than this methodology. Because what it does is it opens conversations in every major category of life that you can use as a platform. Because here's the thing, guys, 90% of the problems that you will experience in your relationship will be because you're not on the same page in one or more of these categories. He's a spender, she's a saver. He's a disciplinarian, she's lenient with the kids. This is where couples get knocked off course and get into mire and muck. And
Yeah.
Miss and I very rarely fight, but when we do, or argue, but when we do, it's only about stupid shit because we got nothing important to fight
Yeah,
about.
that's true.
Nothing important at all
So
to fight
true.
about. We are so aligned in all the important stuff.
And if we're not, like, because we've been going through a massive growth spurt because we're getting ready to step into a new life. And sometimes we're like, okay, he's here and I'm here. We'll just say, okay, we're not gonna answer this right now. We gotta wait because there's gonna be something better that incorporates either both or something that trumps both.
And we have lots of
So,
good conversations about
yeah.
that. We get curious about each other's point
Yeah.
of view. She's smart. She's got tools I don't have. She's unbelievably intuitive. And I've got my, we've both got
Yeah.
our areas.
We're very different.
If we're seeing things differently,
Yeah.
we want to know what's
Yeah.
that all about. And almost always we come to a place that's better than either one
But-
of us.
And that's perfect because
Yeah.
Dean, who's in the audience, asks us this question. How do you handle relationship conflict when it arises?
Okay. Do you want to?
You should take
Okay.
this, sweetie.
Well, you just do the smackdown. You just do the smackdown. Well, usually what happens is if it's a heated thing, we've discovered a new way of doing when we have a really heated argument. Like there's a lot of passion or there's a lot of stuff around it. We'll get in bed. Literally.
It's nuts.
And just hold each other. And I usually lay on his chest where I'm not looking at him, but I'm completely connected to him.
We're both totally pissed at each other. We're like,
Totally pissed. You're just like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. But it really works. It's amazing.
It does.
So but the thing is, you have to drop into a place
Yeah.
of compassion, and you do if you're really truly in that space together. You can drop in.
And then just talk about
And then
it.
you just say, here's how I feel. Here's what happened inside of me. I'm just gonna tell you my thing. Same goes this way. And then through that process, you get to. Bottom line is, you guys, communication.
Communication.
I know everybody says that. It's like an overused word, but it is absolutely the
It
key
is.
to any relationship.
Yep.
Any relationship, period. And the deeper you can get, the more courageous you can be,
Yep.
and the more compassionate you can hold space.
So,
That's the answer.
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's lots of negotiation.
There's
Yeah.
but you know
Yeah.
what there is, you know what there isn't. There is never any compromise.
no
We do not believe in compromise.
that question, guys, please don't shout out questions
sorry.
because we won't be able to
Okay.
pick it up from the mic. It won't get on
Yeah.
the video.
I
Right?
do
So
wanna say-
I'll repeat the question.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
repeat your question.
Yeah.
Is there negotiation?
Yeah, there's
Only with
well,
for fun.
I don't know
It's
that.
well-
I don't know
Like
that
if
I
I
call
want
it.
you to do something for
Yeah,
me.
she can get me to do anything she wants, basically.
So if I need him to make a video
That
for
is
something,
negotiation.
yeah.
But
So it's like that.
But here's an important thing. We do not believe in compromise ever. We do not believe that one of us has to give up our idea or vision for the other.
Right.
There is always a better solution than either one of us thought. And this is the thing. When you get curious about your partner's point of view,
As opposed to judgmental.
right? When they're seeing it different than I am. Why is that?
Yeah.
That's a smart friggin' turned on person there. I want to
Yeah.
know what that's about. And so there is no compromise. We talk about it until we reach the solution that was better than either one of us could have come up with on our own.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, Jade, whom I'm presuming is your daughter, Jade, wants to know, is she your favorite child?
Oh my God, yes!
Well, listen.
Yes?
But I tell each one of my
Just
kids
say
that.
No, this is going
I
to
tell
be
every
this is
kid
going to be
that.
aired.
So, yeah.
Well, I will say this though. I will say this. She's the only one we'll bring out.
Jade, you want to come on stage? Just so people know who you are.
Let's
Come
embarrass
on
the
stage,
shit out of her.
Jade.
Come on, Jade. Come on, Jade.
Jade,
Let me give her a hug.
Come say hi. Poor
this is
thing.
Jade.
No, I tell each one of my kids
This is our
when they ask me
18-year-old.
that question.
All right, go.
Yes. Thanks, Jada.
So the reason I asked you
That's
to come on
hilarious.
stage is because David Harity, who's in the room. David, could you raise your hand, please?
There he is.
Hey, David.
Great. Great. So David Harity asks us this. Would you explain for us how parenting, the parenting aspect of Lifebook, is still valuable for a single person or couple without children?
Yeah,
question.
we get asked that a lot
It's
too.
a
You want to
great,
take that?
great, yeah,
Steve?
okay.
Yep, go ahead.
So there's a bunch of ways to look at the parenting category. You were once a kid, you had parents, or you have parents, right? So that's a way, a lot of people that don't have kids or don't even want to have kids, is they'll think about their relationship with their parents as the child, which is super profound. I've actually done that before when I've gone through Lifebook. Another one is children are our future, you guys. I mean, they're the ones that are going to be running this shit when we're all dead.
Yep.
So they're super important. Whether
right.
you raise them or not, it's important to be a good example to what is possible to the upcoming generation. So I feel like no matter what,
It's a valuable category
Super
to
valuable.
go through.
Yeah.
And what non-parents or people who don't want to have kids, they don't spend a lot of time there. They don't, do the build out and all the thinking, but just watching a dialed-in parenting philosophy and understanding what people go through that
Yeah.
have children.
And how
you don't have
important
that
it is
experience, and how unbelievably it just
to
is
raise them well.
interesting
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and valuable to
Yeah.
have that
Right.
experience.
And even if you
Yeah.
don't plan on having kids, it's useful to know this stuff in case
Yeah.
you have an accident.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you have nieces and nephews,
Right.
then
Great. Thank you so much, John and Missy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vishen. Awesome.
Thanks.